Road America allowed us to celebrate the 4th of July with some NASCAR Cup Series racing. First time at the road course in Wisconsin in 65 years. The reigning champ, Chase Elliott, is once again king of the road. Welcome to Backseat Drivers. I am Alex Weaver. Got the whole gang in here in Studio 3. It's going to be a good show. Jonathan Merryman's here, and from the Opry stage, back here to Studio 3, Kyle Petty from NBC Sports. We hope you all at home had a very happy and safe 4th of July weekend. Even more fireworks on the show today. We'll get into the cut line pressure, the changing of the guard here at NASCAR. Is this the year of too many road courses, and will we finally see Kevin Harvick get his first win of the season coming up this weekend at Atlanta? Let's get right into it with left or right. Merryman, is Elliott having a championship type season? At this point in the season last year, he had one win. He's now sitting at 2 in 2021, so could it be the 9 again?
Look, I don't think there is such a thing until we get into the playoffs, it is a championship season. Kevin Harvick last year, 9 wins. Denny Hamlin, 7 wins. How many titles did they take home last year? 0. All you have to do is qualify for the playoffs, and you are having a championship season. It's a new slate. It's a new ball game. So while, yes, Kyle Larson might be the top guy over at Hendrick Motorsports, 4 wins, looking really good, looking unbeatable at times, doesn't matter. You have to make it to Phoenix. You have to win that race.
Yeah, I think the last championship season I saw was Matt Kenseth. That was a season. Okay, now it's playoffs. There's different times, and you would have to define. I agree. You have to define what a championship season is because, listen, you get hot in those last. Tony Stewart wins 5 out of 10, and Tony Stewart said going into the playoffs, "I don't deserve to be in the playoffs." His season was so bad. So would you say Tony Stewart had a championship season? Even Tony Stewart said he didn't have a championship season that year. So I think he's on track to be one of the Final 4, and that's what I will say. That I believe this team has risen to the level where they are on track to be one of the players.
I'll disagree with you on that. I don't think that Chase Elliott will make the championship 4 this year.
Wow.
And I'll go back and flip on what I said about the beginning of the year, but I'm going to disagree with you.
Somebody with the fan club, please revoke the card.
Alarm.
Please revoke the card now. Now, man.
KP, you'll have a hot take for this one. The most road courses ever on the schedule was 7. All we heard prior to this season was we wanted more road courses. Now people are saying it's too many.
I don't believe so because I don't believe we have enough short tracks, okay? And the closest thing to a short track are these road courses. The closest thing, the guys leaning on each other, making passes, having some strategy, doing different things. Unless we want to bring back Wilkesboro, unless we want to bring back some of these short tracks that we've forsaken and left to grow up in the weeds, then I don't believe we have too many. I like them out, and I like the new ones, man. I love COTA, and I love that we're going to new places, and I love that these guys are setting attendance records and doing all this. The crowds are coming out.
I think the sweet spot's probably around 5 or 6. I don't think there's too many. I like it. I think we just need to all get off Twitter and all just, be happy with what we have for once in a while.
Yeah. That's not going to happen.
Yeah,
no.
Imagine that. Next up, the siren might as well just stay blaring down there in Dawsonville. Merriman's now not invited. His invitation got revoked. But because we're going to the state of Georgia up next, Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Cup Series. But the guy who has a term named after him for how well he's able to get around that track, hug the wall, hug the white line, is Kevin Harvick. It literally is called Harvicking. He's winless in 2021. Merryman, could the first win come in Atlanta?
Kevin Harvick is still Kevin Harvick. That racetrack is still the same racetrack that he's dominated in the past. Stewart-Haas has been turning the corner, so there is a slight possibility I think Kevin Harvick gets a win this weekend.
I don't even know what to say to that. A slight possibility. Hug the white line. He's going to need to hug his teddy bear because there's not going to be a win for Kevin Harvick at Atlanta. I'm sorry. I think Kevin Harvick, I agree with Merryman. Kevin Harvick is still Kevin Harvick, but that team is not what it was when Kevin Harvick was dominating. I think he still knows how to get around a racetrack. He just doesn't have the car to take him where he needs to be. So I don't see, listen, not only do I not see Kevin Harvick not winning at Atlanta, unless something drastic changes within that team, I don't see Kevin Harvick winning a race this year. And that's a huge statement coming off of 9 wins last year and a chance at winning a championship. So they have fallen by the wayside, and you look at Hendrick, you look at some of these other teams, They got to get back in the game before I have Kevin Harvick in my conversation.
I had a hot take button.
Kevin Harvick loses or doesn't win a race this year, I'll eat a bag of rocks. Okay.
Oh my gosh!
No, okay. Chase Elliott was going to win every road course, though.
Yeah,
so.
that didn't work out either. Remember? I
have a short memory.
Yeah. I'll bring the bag. Of rocks.
Let's take a look at the NASCAR playoffs cut line. It's heating up right now with 6 regular season races left. We have Denny Hamlin in 12th, Kevin Harvick in 13th, Austin Dillon 14th, Tyler Reddick 15th, Kurt Busch in 16th. Chris Buescher and Ross Chastain are the first 2 drivers out. So can one of those drivers between Dillon, Tyler Reddick, Kurt Busch, Chris Buescher, and Ross Chastain get a win and lock into the playoffs, KP?
Yes. Tyler Reddick can win Atlanta. This is July. It's a different race. It's going to be a different kind of race than what we've seen down there. And I think a guy like Tyler Reddick can win. I think Kurt Busch. I think a couple of these guys could win a race before we get there.
Chip Ganassi Racing selling to Trackhouse either lights a fire or the mood drops. So I think that's where I'll disagree with you a little bit. I don't know if Kurt's going to go out there and win a race. I think, we'll see how he takes that. We'll see what the future holds for that team. But I don't know if we're going to see anybody else win. And I was thinking that we're going to have more than 16 winners at the beginning of the year.
Breaking my heart. Don't break my heart. I want 16. Well, speaking of cutline drivers, more coming up now in the drive-through. Merryman, who's the cutline driver under the most pressure right now?
It's got to be Matt DiBenedetto, right? He's in basically Penske equipment driving for the Wood Brothers and has been there for a couple years now. He has got to go out and win a race. I don't think just, qualifying for the playoffs is going to, lock anybody's destiny in. You got to win that race, and there's added pressure there because the next person to do that for the Wood Brothers gets win 100 for the Wood Brothers.
I say Bubba's under the most because he said he was going to win 2 races this year, and he's running out of time. He threw it out there. If you call your shot, you've got to back it up at some time, and you're not backing it up running 23rd and 24th every week. So I think that's a team that put pressure on themselves. Maybe not from the outside, but internally, I think that's a team that feels some pressure.
Yeah, I think everybody's feeling a lot of pressure too. And now, if you lived under a rock this past week, a big news week for Trackhouse Racing, they purchased Chip Ganassi Racing and its operations. Justin Marks with a plan, and it starts with 2 cars in the Cup Series in 2022. Jeff Gordon has a leadership role at Hendrick Motorsports. There's rumors of other drivers stepping into major roles at other organizations. Merryman, is this the changing of the guard at NASCAR?
I don't necessarily know if it's a changing of the guard, right? Rick Hendrick and Jeff Gordon are kind of interlinked, right? And then you have Matt Collick, which that is changing of the guard. Trackhouse coming in, buying Chip Ganassi Racing, that's a changing of the guard. I do think that the guard is getting younger. Whether we'll see a whole new NASCAR in all of these teams be under complete new management in the next 10 years, I don't know. What I do know is that everyone is getting younger, which doesn't happen often, which provides us a future, and I'm all for that.
Let's be totally honest. We got a bunch of old white guys running the sport, okay? Honestly, they're all 80-year-old plus, almost, it seems like. If you take Rick, if you take my dad, if you take Hendrick, if you take Penske, honestly, we need new blood. You need guys to come into the sport. Pitbull, you're bringing in minorities. You're bringing in different directions. I think as you look at the sport, that's the last bastion or the last place that we needed to get a younger group into. We talk about fans, we talk about all this other stuff. For the sport to survive, somebody has to build these cars, own these cars, and put the money into them. So I think it's a positive direction. I don't think it's necessarily a changing of the guard. I think it's that time. It's nature. The old go away and the young come in.
Your dad just celebrated a birthday, didn't he?
84. Yeah. That's what I just said, old white guys.
Aging like fine wine. Well, the guard is changing, at least when it comes to Hendrick Motorsports. There is no way to deny that this organization is dominating right now. Unbelievable what they're doing in the garage. So with the recent domination, KP, rank your Hendrick drivers over there. Put them from 1 to 4 of who you got in that camp.
But I say Kyle Larson just from a consistency standpoint and from the different type of racetracks that he's won on. He's won on big tracks, short tracks, round tracks, backwards tracks. It doesn't make any difference. He's won on every Dr. Seuss track there is. So he has to be your number 1 guy. It's tough for me to rank those other 3 guys because I think William Byron has shown consistency and shown flashes of brilliance. Alex Bowman has won 3 races. Who would have thought Who would have thought Alex Bowman would have snuck in there in the final stage and won 3 races? So you can't go off of that. You can't go off totally off wins. I think that group as a whole are as equal a group as any team owner has right now. So it's tough. I put Kyle Larson first, and that's about as far as I can go.
Number 5 is number 1.
I think he's got to be, right? So the philosophy here for me changes in 2 different ways. Who do I want driving my race car is going to be Kyle Larson. Who do I want driving my race car for the last 10 races of the year? Also going to be Kyle Larson. I think that changes up as you go down the list. I think, over here, who do I want behind the wheel of my race car is going to be, William Byron is going to be my number 2 just because of the future and the potential that's there, and then Chase and then Bowman. On this side of the fence, if I'm talking about in the playoffs, it's going to be Larson, Chase, Bowman, Byron, just because the consistency from some of those guys was not going to push you that far in the playoff run. So I think there's an A list and a B list here, and there's no cut and dry answer.
We'll see if Hendrick Motorsports can continue their winning ways this Sunday at Atlanta Motor Speedway. But before we make new history, let's look back at Atlanta's most memorable moments.
But Alan Kowicki is coming off of corner number 4, knowing that he's winning the championship. There's the checkered flag for Alan. He's the champion for 92.
Just like a year ago, he's going to get him, though. Here he's going to get him. Gordon got loose. It's Harvick. Harvick by inches. Harvick by inches. Harvick by inches. What a race. What a finish.
As the fans saluted Dale with the number 3 on the 3rd lap, Kevin Harvick salutes him on the way to victory lane.
Telling you they're going to be side by side when they come to the line. It's going to be another one of those fantastic Atlanta finishes. Johnson tries to block him. It's who can stay in the throttle here off turn 4. And here they come, and I think Cole's got the advantage. He knows it. He wins it. Already. All right. Woo. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Yes. And that's after 500 miles of racing.
It's going to be a sideways run to the checkers. Johnson tries to get there, can't get it done. Career win number 85. Jeff Gordon, 3rd on NASCAR's all-time win list.
Wow.
Will Ryan Blaney get his chance to sweep Atlanta for the 2021 season, or will it be a first win for Kevin Harvick this year? Find out this Sunday. It'll be a hot one in Atlanta at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on NBCSN, and we'll see you right back here next week in the Backseat.